Good afternoon and welcome to Midday Live. I am Wendy Lai. In this edition, Nimoro tomato farmers in the Sisala West District of the Upper West region appeal to government to dredge their dam to boost tomato cultivation. Ghana Prison Service to recruit 1,000 personnel to augment strength. And UN study warns half of African birds and mammals could be extinct by the end of 2100. This is Midday Live. Let's start with our stories now. And an amount of $1 billion to be used to finance the 2018 budget has been approved by Parliament. The Finance Ministry is also to use $1.50 billion to refinance maturing external bonds. The approval was done on the last day of sitting of the House.
In presenting the report, Chairman of the Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esebe-Yabua, said the request by the government is for the issuance of the 2018 sovereign bond and global depository note. It is also to allow government to use $1 billion to finance the 2018 budget, use up to $1.50 billion to refinance maturing external bonds, thus the 2022 and 2023, and also to use about 500 million Ghana cedis from the Global Depository Note to refinance expensive domestic cedi denominated debt. But ranking member of the committee, Ato Forson, expressed surprise as to why government will use $1 billion to finance the 2018 budget.
Now you are creating expenditure of 2.8 billion Ghana cedis. Honorable Minister, I cannot be part of this. I cannot support you to go to the capital market to go and borrow for the purposes of funding expenditure that does not exist in the budget. Mr. Speaker, are you using it for consumption?
In 8 years, we were here in the chamber and we were approving loans that were explained to us that we were doing smart borrowing. Today, another group is doing very prudent borrowing, and we say no.
To go onto the market to borrow is not a problem. The problem is, what are we doing to fast-track fiscal consolidation in order to ensure that we reduce the rate at which we are borrowing? Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, we are running a fiscal regime that is regressive, a fiscal regime that reduces VAT for airline tickets to support the rich, and imposes import VAT on bicycles for the poor.
Mr. Speaker, for all our inflows, be they from taxes or from financing as we are doing now, we do not literally distinguish when we come here and say that we are bringing in tax revenue. We don't come and distinguish that if this tax revenue is not going for this building or for that particular item, we will not allow the government of Ghana to take it. It is only because this is of an international nature. That is why Article 1815 is triggered, and that's why we are here this afternoon requiring parliamentary approval.
The House also passed the Ghana Deposit Protection Amendment Bill. Its passage is expected to bring relief to depositors and ensure stability to the financial sector.
Now to education, and the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says government will invest a higher chunk of the nation's resources into education to transform Ghana. Speaking at a ceremony to mark the official launch of the restoration of the teacher trainee allowances, the Vice President noted the Akufo-Addo-led administration will stop at nothing to transform education in the country.
The issue of restoring teacher trainee allowances that was driving us in the 2016 election. It was about building a new Ghana, a modernized Ghana, and a very prosperous Ghana.
Government has currently restored the allowance by providing 400 cedis to the trainee teachers, but the leadership of the trainee teachers appear not satisfied about the restoration. It requested for 450 to 500 cedis instead of the 400 cedis.
To the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to kindly and humbly restore the allowance fully, if not increment.
The student leadership again implored government to bear the cost of paying their utility bills.
The government promised to pay all utilities for students in the colleges of education. It should be duly paid by government, rather than deducting it from their allowance.
The Vice President assured them to get their grievances addressed. Meanwhile, he has explained that government will be recruiting more graduates from next month to fill vacant positions in the education sector. In another development, government is to begin the construction of 570 dams under the One Village, One Dam policy in April this year.
We will construct 570 dams. Well, if I can do more than that, I will do more than that, even by 570.
You're still watching Media Live. To one of our headline stories, and the Ghana Prison Service is to recruit 1,000 personnel this year to augment its staff strength. The intended recruitment exercise followed government's approval and financial clearance. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry disclosed this at the graduation parade of 40 officer cadets of the Ghana Prison Service here in Accra.
The Ghana Prison Service's primary mandate is to ensure public safety through safe custody, welfare, reformation and reintegration of prisoners into society. The service has been grappling with inadequate personnel and logistics. The graduation of Cadet Officer Course 24 is a boost to the service.
Being the only people who come into regular contact with prisoners, officers must continuously demonstrate the values of integrity, honesty, and respect for human dignity to serve as a positive influence in empowering the prisoners to aspire to more productive lifestyles on discharge.
The Interior Minister assured of government's commitment to provide logistics and operational support for the service.
In order to augment the staff strength of the service, government has given approval for the recruitment of 1,000 young men and women into the service this year. It is anticipated that this number will lessen the pressure on staff currently and reduce work-related stress among the rank and file of the service.
In the recent past, the school has trained correctional practitioners from Burundi and Liberia. Two females, Senam Teresa Gbedi and Kafui Asimenu, came top as best all-round cadet and best in academics.
To other stories, and the Forestry Commission is to use policy and legislative reforms, law enforcement, restoration of degraded landscapes to address challenges of global warming. Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Kwejo Owusu-Afriyie, said special courts are being set up to fast-track prosecution of persons who fell trees indiscriminately and affects the environment.
Forests and trees play important roles in maintaining and balancing the natural ecosystem. The role of forest cover and trees in hydrological and carbon cycles in the atmosphere is enough evidence of their importance and the need to protect its cover. The high rates of deforestation in recent years have resulted in a number of climate changes and a major concern. Between 1990 and 2010, Ghana lost a total of 2,508,000 hectares of forest, representing 33.7%. Kwejo Owusu-Afriyie, who was addressing a section of the media to mark the United Nations International Day of Forests, says these cannot continue.
In other jurisdictions, you cannot fell a tree without offending the law. You would be imprisoned even if the tree is on your own compound. And therefore, we want to bring that culture to be embedded and to be infused in Ghanaians so that we all ensure that trees are protected, and not only that, that we continue even to add to it.
March 21 is set aside by the United Nations to raise awareness on the importance of all types of forest and trees outside forests.
We are also poised at ensuring that the illegal chainsaw operators would not find it easy to operate as they have always been doing, and the galamseyers would also not have it easy. We are going to ensure that our forest guards do protect the forest.
Ghana has chosen the month of May due to its climate conditions, since the day is to encourage tree planting.
You can either come to Forestry Commission headquarters here or to any of our district offices or our regional offices, and you will be given some of these seedlings for purpose of the planting.
This year's event is on the theme, maintaining the balance between urbanization and forest conservation.
I'm also urging all Ghanaians to plant 1 tree per person and then ensure its growth.
To some more stories, and the area boasts of a rich history of slave trade in Ghana. This should be a gold mine for the people of East Ghana. However, the Salaga Slave Market, Slave Wells and Baths, Slave Cemetery and the museum have become mere places of entertainment for tourists. Now, Zubaida Ismail has filed the story.
These sites hold the history of slave trade. The wells originally were without heights, but the Municipal Assembly, in its quest to preserving their legacies, constructed the heights on a few of them. Decades on, the wells still appear newly constructed.
They fetch the water from these wells to the baths. If you want to sell something, you have to make it very, very presentable. So they have to clean themselves before taking them to the market. If you don't do that, once seeing them may be thinking that they are weak.
The Salaga Slave Market, which used to be where slaves were paraded for sale, has just a signpost to show off. An original baobab tree that used to be where the slave masters sat for shade has been pulled down by the wind. Salaga became one of the biggest slave markets in Africa due to its proximity. We also visited the slave cemetery. Open defecation is common here. Currently, the tourism team put together the former administration, which is struggling to maintain the slave cemetery.
We are now trying to fence it, just to get some barbed wires around and fence it.
Our final spot was at the museum. Here, some artifacts used during the slave trade have been kept safe. Shackles, spears, calabars of different shapes and shea butter oil used have been preserved by the team. Some facilities have been left in a bad state. Suleimana Idrisu has been the tour guide of the Salaga tourism site since childhood. He learned the history of slave trade from his late father, who was also the chief of Salaga.
We head to the Ashanti region, and the onset of rains has exposed the deplorable nature of roads at Oputoja and Abotem in that very region. The pothole-riddled roads gather rainwater, making commuting a daunting task. Here's a report by Beatrice Biogabra.
Oputoja and Abotem are two adjoining communities in the Bosomtwi district of the Ashanti region. The roads in these communities are in deplorable state. With the onset of the rains, residents struggle to access commercial vehicles as most drivers refuse to ply the road. The pothole-riddled roads gather rainwater, making commuting difficult. Some residents say the poor roads affect businesses and school attendance.
The nature of the road, most of the workers who work alongside this place are not been getting cars to report a duty on time. And then we cannot also use our vehicles because of the road. So we are pleading on the government to come to our aid.
They need to fix it. Things are rotting in the bush, everything. Look, you can see our road now. And this road leads to Cape Coast, it leads to different regions. So it needs to be repaired.
Kwabena Inketia, a taxi driver, complained about the frequent breakdown of their vehicles due to the poor nature of the roads. The residents are appealing to the government to give the roads a facelift.
And out to the eastern region, where Gari producers and cassava grating operators at Amanase have protested against the relocation by the traditional authority. They lamented the new sites Abonse at the outskirts is not developed and too far from the town. A report by Ivo Nikwe.
The Gari producers and several other residents in the Gari processing business chain protested against their relocation by the traditional authority. They argued the relocation was a disadvantage to their business.
We stand a chance of being attacked by armed robbers. Also, relocating our machines is a challenge. We're pleading with the government and the chiefs to come to our aid.
Farmers had come to supply cassava to producers, but many would not buy because they feared they may not be able to produce in the wake of the directive. We gathered the Amanase Traditional Council had asked Gari producers and cassava millers to move their business to Abonse at the outskirts of the Amanase township. The assemblyman of Amanase, Prince Michael Agohu, agreed the directive was necessary but requested more time.
Nana Jasi yeno eye ne mo medu baabi a na achia kakra e de chese baabi odi ama nkrofo no eye se caterpillar kodo ho na ehoye kama.
The decision of the chief is not a bad idea, but we will also require him to provide some favorable market condition. The Jasihene of Amanase, Nanadwe Jekum, explained the directive, which was given 2 years ago, was as a result of a survey conducted by the Ghana Health Service, which placed Amanase among the filthiest communities in the region.
2 years in here, yes, na yaye nkakra kusi se ya ma wa kwanya se eye Gari factory ebien ewo kurum ha no won banchi no mfa ni nyina anko na won koye sa Gari nsu no ho adwuma ho na ni nyina mu na nanom so yayi asase kese atowo a yesi wo nyina wontu nko ho.
We gave them the notice for about 2 years now, but they are not ready to respond to our directives. This is the final opportunity for them to relocate to rid Amanse of filth.
2 years is enough.
He will not accept any excuse and wants them to join those operating at a facility provided by a non-governmental organization in the interim. Amanase is among the leading Gari producers in the country, providing jobs to hundreds of a youthful population.
So one of our headline stories in tomato farmers at Nimoro, a village in the Sisala West District of the Upper West region, are appealing to government as part of its flagship One Village, One Dam project to dredge a dam which is their only source of livelihood during the dry season. The farmer group, who produce a lot of tomatoes over the past 7 years, now suffer the consequences of lack of water for their vegetables. Here's a report by Yakubu Abdul Gafaru.
The dry season garnering at Nimoro was set up by Plan Ghana to engage the residents of the area to earn a living instead of traveling down south to look for non-existent jobs. A total of 32 farmers have been producing vegetables, particularly tomatoes, on the 8-acreage garden. The number of farmers has been increased to 44 as a result of youth of the area who returned from down south to join them in the gardening. But the water in the dam is now muddy as it is gradually drying up, making it difficult for the farmers to get water for the plants. The tomatoes, which the farmers claim they get between 2,000 and 10,000 cedis per farmer in a season depending on the number of cartons produced, are all withering, while the fruits were also rotting as a result of lack of water to water them. Farmers had to practice mulching to keep moisture and also prevent them from further rot.
With this large acreage, I think we were told that this is the largest garden in Upper West, because we are joined together, our gather gardens, but it's just small, and no water. Presently, if you go there, it's very sad. The water now we are using is mud, not water. It's a very big challenge to us. Some of our children even want to come down here and stay with us, but because there's no water at the dam, we are finding it difficult for us.
The Sisala West District Chief Executive, Bako Zakaria Mohammed, together with some experts, have visited the irrigation facility to see the extent of damage and also look at the dam in order to make recommendations to the government.
We are looking at enhancing farming, that is throughout the year in the northern part of Ghana.
And the president says that his feeling is that if we have dams in the major communities, that will enhance the cultivation bit of our people.
Some youth who migrated down south last year have now decided to join the gardening because it is profitable than going to the Kayaye.
To other stories, and Buti Falls, a twin waterfall tourist attraction situated on a 214-acre land in the Yilo-Krobo district of the Eastern region, has no firefighting equipment stationed on site. In an event of a forest or bushfire, severe damage can be done. Buti Falls became a famous tourist attraction in the early 1960s following a visit to the falls by Ghana's President Kwame Nkrumah, who commissioned the building for a rest place and an observatory at the twin waterfalls. Years on, Buti Falls is yet to be developed into a real tourist attraction, serving both local and foreign tourists.
The Buti Falls is a twin waterfall, referred to as the male and female, located at Langmanse in the Yilo-Krobo district of the Eastern region. Local legend has it that the name Buti was derived from a Twi word, Eboniti, thus water from the head of the rocks, giving it the name Buti Falls. Over the years, forest cover at Buti has suffered from persistent bushfires caused by farming activities, which has affected the river Pompong, which is its source of water. Tourists had to sit on rocks for a while and return to other sightseeing places, but expressed their displeasure at the absence of the waterfall.
Today is my first day of coming here, but I've really enjoyed the trip. When I went there, I really wanted to swim. I prepared myself, but unfortunately for me, the water was not coming, but I really enjoyed.
I'm sad because I wanted to see how the water flows from the stone.
I want to see the water from the mountains, but it seems the Hamatan has just dried the water up, so I didn't see, so I'm very sad of it.
Management of the place was given to a private operator by the Yilo-Krobo District Assembly 4 years ago. The board chair of the private operator, Richard Kilson, expressed concern at the recent spate of bushfires, which has affected the flow to the falls and burned some of the chalet put up as part of new facilities erected. An afforestation project and other hospitality facilities are earmarked to be put up to make the tourist site equipped with standard attractions.
We, as investors, we are going ahead and helping to do a little bit, like the first ever canopy walk across a water body in the world. Our hospitality center that we designed, that we are putting in place, the event park, the tree houses systems, all of these is supposed to make Buti the Disney of Ghana.
Beyond the forest fires is the issue of compensation and royalty for the land. Some family members feel they must receive a 5% share of the revenue generated from the site, paid to the Yilo-Krobo Assembly.
We owe 5% compound interest in whatever, every year, whatever thing they do here at Buti Falls. But ever since the 62 judgment, Kobo, absolutely Kobo, has not been paid to us. We've written to all past governments. We are yet to present our report to the current one. The situation is still the same.
He showed documents which revealed a consensus was made to pay some amount, referred to as support fund, to 6 beneficiary families of the tourist site.
We all agreed that we are going to give them 5,500, and they all agreed. Then since then, we started paying them. So I don't know why he will be complaining that the assembly didn't give them anything. But the rest of them, they are coming for their money.
During its peak season, Buti Falls attracts hundreds of students, locals and foreign tourists who spend days at a time at the falls. It is also a location for group picnics during weekends.
You're still watching Midday Live. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying. Let's look at submission stories now. And inadequate financing and lack of teaching and learning materials are major obstacles militating against the physically challenged persons in Dafiama-Busi, Issa district in the Upper West region, from getting education. While some struggle through begging for financial support, a larger number drop out of school. Bright Nanafo spoke to two physically challenged students, Ama and Kujo. We have to conceal their identity to avoid them being stigmatized.
Persons with disability have huge burdens. Of particular notice are those who are in school, one of which is accessing public buildings. Some schools are trying to become disability friendly. We're hiding the identity of a school and the person with disability that we want to engage in this story. Now, this is one of the schools in the Upper West region. The school is disability friendly to some extent. This is a ramp that allows students who have physical disability to be able to walk on this and get to the building, the school building. But then there's a difficulty because when they have to go up, for instance, if you are in Form 3 and you have to walk up the staircase to your classrooms, you have a difficulty here. Persons with disability simply can't go on this smoothly. They'll have some difficulty climbing to the top. And of course, the person with disability that we're engaged indeed has told us that getting up to his classroom is indeed a huge challenge for him. He's been here for 3 years and he's gone through this inconvenience every time he had to attend classes. He's only pleading that authorities will ensure that every public institution has a ramp for persons with disability to be able to comfortably use it. Ama is in Form 3, getting ready to write the West African School Certificate examinations. Her problems started at the junior high school level.
I was in JSS Form 2, so we went to write our final promotion to Form 3. So I went out to go and buy pen and come and write the exams early in the morning. I was riding a bicycle and I kept the bicycle on the roadside, so I wanted to move with the bicycle and the motor just hit me.
It did not deter her. She struggled to go through the basic education certificate examination, but with difficulty. At the senior high school level, life on the school's compound is difficult, but Ama has to endure. Her school has been very supportive despite her disability.
And my father always told me that if not because of school, I don't have anything to do. So I have to take school seriously so that I can become someone in future. My teachers, some of them always advise me that I should take learning seriously. So that if I pass my WASSCE examination, that they always offer scholarship. That if I pass, they will offer me a scholarship.
She feels unfulfilled because of the challenges with her education. If you say you need support, tell me first of all, what kind of support do you need?
My school fees. When I wrote WASSCE, I know my parents cannot afford me the money to go to training college or university. And they have to let disability people to know that they are also
there's someone there that needs help.
Yes, and some people always see us like this and they just be laughing.
Does that discourage you from achieving what you want to achieve?
No, it does not discourage me.
Ama's friends say she is a great person.
She is good. I always talk to her all the time. Like if she is to think about anything about the leg, she shouldn't always think about it. So because of that, she always forgets about it and always concentrate with the learner.
Kwadwo is also in Form 3. The 2018 West African School Certificate examination stares at him. and so he's gearing up to face it. He was born with a disability, unlike Ama.
The person in which I am, I know without school I can't do anything. So my main motivation is I'm just doing all I can so that I can put myself into a success way so that I can also become somebody in future.
For Kwadwo, his school has been very good to him. He could not have reached where he is without his friends. But he has challenges too.
Looking at this thing, for instance, I spent about almost 2 weeks at the house before I can get support from them to come to school.
Because of financial difficulties?
Yes.
But eventually they managed to get
you
to come to school.
Get me.
He thinks the school and society can do more to help persons with disability acquire education.
I know without the school, I cannot do anything. So I'll urge them that they should support, especially people like our type. They should have support on us so that we can also forward our education.
He faces daily challenges which he thinks negates his efforts at achieving his educational dreams. He pleads for help. For the likes of Kwadwo and Ama, society has a huge responsibility to ensure such persons get support. The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities tries to change attitudes towards these persons as objects of charity, medical treatment, and social protection. To achieve this, stakeholders want efforts increased for these persons to have education so they can fend for themselves. Such support can make these persons active members of society. Bright Nanamfo, TV3.
To some stories, and patients at Apatenge in the Bongo district of the Upper East region have refused to use the Unichips compound. Most clients in the community are on the NHIS scheme, but because the center is not accredited, patients prefer buying medicines from a drugstore or trek to the nearest facility instead of paying for services. Bright Nanamfo reports, though all monies to get accredited has been paid, the center remains unaccredited.
Here, almost everybody is with a health insurance scheme. So the person thinks that I should get free services. So the person comes to our facility and we say we are not accredited by the health insurance, and for that matter, we cannot attend to you. Go to the nearest facility. So if it's going to the nearest facility, then the people will wonder, why do I have a facility in my community and I have to go to the next facility? So some will prefer sitting at home, or those who can afford will prefer you writing the drugs for them to go and buy from the chemist.
The health of over 900 people left in danger. A beautiful structure, but patronage is poor. This brings challenges which they have strategized to deal with.
For an emergency, the facility here has an emergency referral system, which the community selected a number of people with motorbikes. So their numbers are here. So when an emergency comes, you just call one of them because we cannot do anything. So one of them, the nearest.
Some services are free. These health staff are scared of their future.
We are always afraid our skills will depreciate. We keep talking about it. If we don't do what we are expected to do and it's getting too long, we'll end up forgetting what we have learned. You need to practice.
Residents are disappointed. They could be treated under a tree in the past when they had no building. This is where we are standing in Apatenge under this tree. You started treating people here.
When we started, the people were always crying for the long distance traveling. So we kept an initiative by the then district health director that we can always consult and then add up our claims to the mother facility, which is Dua Health Center, and then submit. So that's what we used to do.
But can't receive same in a new environment. Worried chiefs and people of Apatenge feel left out.
When they constructed the chip compound, they were very, very happy that at least they will no more walk far distance before they access healthcare. But the challenge is that you can't use a health insurance here because it is not accredited.
The district health team confirmed the community is worried. The team, however, said all processes have been done and accreditation should be given.
Finish playing our role, we are now. But we've been in touch with the district office here, but it appears they don't have much to do about this. They are also looking up to higher levels to do that, get that done.
Some health staff, made up of 3 national youth employment workers, serve the community.
A very worrying situation. Health staff ready to work, clients ready to attend clinic, but certain difficulties impeding them from accessing health. We're told that the community has over 200 women in fertility age, about 39 expected pregnancies. That is not a worry because these are free services, but the clinicals is where the challenge is. Caring for the people is a difficult task here. Health officers ready to work, facility in good shape, and yet clients are failing to turn up. Brighton and Anfo, Upper Tanga, Upper East.
You're still with Midday Live. Next, we have sports to stay. Thanks for staying. We have international news now, and a UN-backed study has revealed that actions of mankind could lead to the extinction of half of African birds and mammals by the end of 2100. The report, conducted by 550 experts from around the world, said reduced biodiversity could affect people's quality of life. It also found 42% of land-based animal and plant species in Europe and Central Asia have declined in the last decade. The findings come after the death of the last male northern white rhino. The study by the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services showed forest cover in China and other parts of Northeast Asia had risen by more than 20% between 1990 and 2015. It also found that animals such as the Amur leopard, which were once on the verge of extinction, had grown in population. Speaking at the 2018 Biodiversity Summit in Colombia, leading British scientist Sir Robert Watson said, "We must act to halt and reverse the unsustainable use of nature or risk future we want and have." Academic volunteers looked through some 10,000 scientific publications for what is said to be the most extensive biodiversity survey in 2005. To other stories, and Spanish police have rescued 39 women and girls smuggled from Nigeria and trafficked into sex work by a notorious Nigeria gang. Europol says the victims were kept in squalid conditions in caves and intimidated with voodoo threats. Gang members forced the women into sex work in order to pay off a 30,000 euro debt. 89 people, including a famous but as yet unnamed Nigerian DJ, have been arrested. The DJ is said to have helped move victims to Spain and organize sexual exploitation across the country. Next, we have entertainment, and we're talking about the burial of Ebony in the funeral service, and emotional scenes captured at her funeral will send tears down your cheeks.
It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well.
Yeah, so rest in peace. To other stories now, and still in relation to Ebony, out of the hundreds who showed up at the forecourt of the State House to mourn the late dancehall artist Ebony, there was one lady who many saw as Ebony's look-alike. But does Ikua Chemanting really look like Ebony?
See, I'm nothing without you, love. From the bottom, let's put you right.
A lot of people were fascinated by her looks. She looks just like Ebony, and so we'll be talking to her in a while to find out who she really is. Ikua, what's saying? Ikua, because Ikua Chemanting
Okay, because Ikua Chemanting is my name. I'm a nursing worker. Moreover, too, Ebony used to train me one-on-one.
Okay, so you had that personal relationship. You met her a couple of times.
Yeah, I had that personal relationship with her. We used to go to lunch at Coco Vanilla and a lot.
And what was she telling you? Interaction with her? What are some of the things that you used to talk about?
Oh, okay. She wanted me to become like her. But due to my nursing course, I decided to join her so that I'll become like her.
All right, and you are telling us that you won a competition, Ebony's look-alike, and tell us what happened. What happened on social media?
I won the look-alike on social media, and it was trending everywhere.
All right, so when people meet you, what do they tell you?
Ebony look-alike, Ebony near. Everyone used to call me Ebony. I feel good because she's my godmother. She's my 90s bad girl. She's my everything. She's my woman, my mother, my everything.
So when you came here and the whole place came to a standstill because of you, what was going through your mind?
I remember her because she used to tell me that, Ikua, be serious with me and you will make it. I wanted to join her so that she can train me one-on-one, then I'll also become a musician.
So right now, Ebony is no more. What are you going to be doing?
I wish to become a musician because I used to sing, I used to write music, I used to write songs, I used to write.
Which of Ebony's songs are your favorites?
Asada.
And that's all for Midday Live. Thank you so much for watching. But before we end, a quick run through our top stories. Animoro tomato farmers in the Sisila West District of the Upper West region appeal to government as part of its One Village, One Dam policy to urgently dredge their dam in order to boost tomato cultivation. Ghana presents service to recruit 1,000 recruits to augment strength. And UN study warns half of African birds and mammals could be extinct by the end of the year 2100. Among the list of the biggest threats to food security were population, climate change, and deforestation. And that's all for now. Join us again at 7 for News 360. Do have a good day. My name is Wendy Lai. Enjoy the rest of our programs as well. Thanks for watching.